Derrick Rose getting shopped? He just might be. What's going on, y'all? 5 Sports Talk back at it with another video talking some NBA, talking NBA trade rumors. And the latest one comes from ESPN's Ian Bigley, who says that Derrick Rose is getting inquired about a lot from multiple teams. He's getting a lot of interest, and we all know the NBA trade deadline is just a few days away. And so the Knicks have gotten a lot of interest from Rose. Now, whether or not that's teams calling the Knicks and saying they're interested, or whether that's the Knicks shopping Derrick Rose, we don't really know. But regardless, the outcome still seems to be the same, is that Derrick Rose could be potentially shipped out of New York. It's still, I would say at this point, unlikely, but it is very possible. Now, with that being said, let's talk a little bit about what this means for the Knicks and then potential teams maybe that would be interested. First of all, this does not surprise me at all. When the Knicks initially signed Derrick Rose, they knew he was going to be an experiment, and I put an air quotes around experiment because Derrick Rose is on an expiring contract. He's due about $21 million this year, and then he is an unrestricted free agent. So the Knicks were just going to take a chance, see if Rose could regain that form of MVP back in 2011 or whenever he won it. I think it was 2011. But everybody knew that was not really going to happen. But Phil Jackson still took that chance, and it didn't pan out like everybody predicted. And Rose, even though he is having a solid season, averaging around 17.5 points per game, 4.5 assists, you know, he's been decent this year, and he's played in a handful of games. Certainly he's not the player that he was before, and he's been inefficient, just 24% shooter from three-point land. So Rose is still, you know, more of a inefficient rim finisher, and he's still a poor defender. So really, that's not what the NBA is these days with point guards. You need to be able to be a good shooter. You need to be able to defend and whatnot. And Rose really has weaknesses in both those areas. So it makes sense that the Knicks are shopping Rose, or that teams are inquiring about Rose, because he can be had for the right price. Absolutely. The Knicks have already made it clear with the rumors about Carmelo Anthony getting traded that Phil Jackson is trying to rebuild his team around Kristaps Porzingis, and anybody not named Kristaps is up for sale and potentially on the way out for the Knicks. So Derrick Rose is, of course, included in that. So let's now talk a little bit about potentially what could be the offer for Derrick Rose, what teams could be asking for, and then what are some potential teams for Rose as well. First, what is he worth? Well, Serge Ibaka just got traded for a first-round pick, so a lot of people would probably jump to the conclusion that you could get a first-round pick for Derrick Rose. I have my doubts. I don't think Derrick Rose is worth a first-round draft pick. I think Rose, at best, is worth maybe a couple role players or a role player and like a draft pick, like a second-round pick. So even for Ibaka, it was a late pick. So first-round picks are just too valuable. And, yeah, there's a lot of dumb GMs, and there's always an idiot born every second, like they say. So some team and some GM could say it's worth it for them to trade away a first-round pick. Heck, I believe the Clippers traded away a first-round pick for Jeff Green, if I remember correctly. But I don't think Rose is worth that. I think he's worth a second-round pick. I think he's worth a role player or two. Look, I said Rose is solid in the right system. I just don't believe he's the long-term answer for really any team. But if you look at, again, potential teams now that could use Rose, and I went through the league, and I couldn't really find too many teams that would be a good fit for Rose. I mean, Detroit has been shopping Reggie Jackson, so maybe they could use Derrick Rose. But again, are they rebuilding? Are they contending? What's the deal here? Rose, to me, I mean, if you can mask his defensive abilities with like a good interior defense, that's why a team like Utah comes to mind. But again, George Hill is a very stable, solid point guard. Maybe Rose can come off the bench for that team who lacks some depth at point guard. Then you look at a team like the Houston Rockets, who have Patrick Beverley, who fits pretty well in that system. But again, guard depth, they could use point guard depth, or Rose could sort of mask his defensive abilities in a system which is based around that, because they hide James Harden's defense, so why couldn't they hide Rose's? Other teams, I mean, Milwaukee needs a point guard, but again, are they rebuilding? and they have the guys to pay. They just gave Giannis a huge deal, so there's a lot of question marks here and there. Miami, they're looking to shop Goran Dragic. Dallas is definitely an option. Darren Williams is looking like he's on his last legs, and who knows what's going to happen to Dirk. Maybe they're still trying to, make a move with whatever veteran pieces they have. The Timberwolves, Ricky Rubio's getting shopped. So there's definitely a market, I would say, for Rose in terms of a point guard. But whether or not Derrick Rose will be able to be a bona fide starter with any of these teams, to me, is still a question mark. Like I mentioned, if a team like Utah trades for Rose, I think he would be a bench player. I think he'd be the first guard off the bench, back up to George Hill. I don't know if he would start. So really, for Derrick Rose and for teams that are trading for Derrick Rose, know this: poor defender and inefficient shooter, so you better surround him with good interior defensive bigs. And you got to make sure you can mask those abilities. But again, Rose is best when you just let him penetrate, drive, and create for others. He's still, to me, on the right team, an asset in this league. And I could see some teams make the move for him. But again, you have to remember, for Derrick Rose, if you're trading for him now before his deal is up, he's going to demand top dollar. So he is going to be a rental. So that is why I say buyer beware. If you give up too much for Derrick Rose, he could bounce, because we all know that Derrick Rose is looking for a max deal. He's not going to get that, but he's looking for big money this offseason when he's a free agent. So with that being said, those are just my thoughts on Derrick Rose getting shopped around for the New York Knicks. Let me know what you guys think. What is the price for Derrick Rose? What are some good teams that are fits for him? Leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.